It all started on a bus. 30 students crammed inside, laughing, singing, filming TikToks, and screaming over who brought the best snacks. Outside, the mountain road curled like a snake, fog rolling in from below as thunder muttered somewhere in the distance. Vanessa sat by the window, AirPods in, idly scrolling through her phone even though there was no signal. She wasn't exactly the social type, just there, existing in her own world. And somehow, bad luck loved to orbit around her like a confused satellite. The bus rattled as it climbed higher. A few students joked about ghosts, others teased the driver about the cliff with no guardrail. Someone threw a chip at Vanessa. "Hey, psychic girl, you see anything in our future?" Vanessa looked up lazily, then froze. For a brief, terrifying second, she saw it, metal twisting, glass shattering, bodies flying. The bus tumbling down the mountain in slow motion, screams swallowed by the night. A bloody phone screen. Her reflection. She shot to her feet. "I just saw a vision," she gasped, hand to her chest. "We're all going to crash." Everyone groaned in unison. "Vanessa, you say that every time someone drives over 40, one girl rolled her eyes." "Yeah, and last week you predicted the cafeteria running out of fries." But Vanessa wasn't joking this time. She clutched the seat as the bus picked up speed, tires screeching around another sharp curve. "I'm serious. Stop the bus." The driver, Mr. Dawson, a middle-aged man with too much coffee and too little patience, snorted. "Relax, kid. The only thing we're crashing into is a great weekend." A second later, the engine coughed. Once. Twice. Then died completely. The laughter stopped. The headlights flickered. The bus began to slide. Screams erupted as it skidded toward the cliff edge, metal groaning, snacks flying, a soda can exploding against the ceiling. Vanessa's breath caught, then the bus jerked violently and stopped. Silence. Outside the window was nothing but darkness and a few feet of empty air. The front wheel hung just barely off the cliff. Someone started sobbing. Another vomited. The driver fainted on the spot, his whistle lanyard swinging. Vanessa blinked, brushing crumbs off her lap. "Oh," she said casually. "You're welcome." And as everyone scrambled out the back door in panic, Vanessa was the last to leave, pausing to take a selfie beside the "Danger, Steep Drop" sign, captioned. "Almost died LOL skull sparkles." Hours later, after police arrived and the wrecked bus was towed away, Vanessa wandered into a nearby gas station to clean up. The place looked like every horror movie's favorite setting, flickering fluorescent lights, an old humming refrigerator, and a bored cashier scrolling through an ancient phone. Vanessa went straight to the bathroom. The air was thick, humid, and faintly metallic. A single buzzing light swung above, casting jittery shadows across the dirty tiles. She sighed, adjusting her hair in the cracked mirror. "Honestly, I could have died today and my eyeliner still looks amazing." Behind her, unnoticed, a loose wire sparked near a puddle from a leaking sink. Each spark crawled closer to a roll of paper towels hanging off the wall. Vanessa hummed to herself, a cheerful tune entirely unfitting for the moment, as she pulled out her lip gloss. It slipped from her fingers, rolling across the floor. "Ugh, my luck," she muttered, bending down. The second her head ducked, the wire snapped loose. Biz. A blinding flash filled the room. When the smoke cleared, the mirror was cracked, the ceiling scorched black. The puddle sizzled. The bathroom door creaked open, and a guy outside yelled, "Hey! You okay in there?" Something just exploded. Vanessa emerged with her lip gloss, blinking through the haze. Her hair was slightly frizzed from static, but she looked otherwise untouched. "Wow," she said, glancing at the still-smoking light fixture. "LEDs these days, huh? They don't make them like they used to." The men stared at her like she was a ghost. Behind them, a single ember from the broken fixture landed on the roll of paper towels. It smoldered quietly as they walked out. 10 seconds later, the entire bathroom erupted into flames. Vanessa, outside sipping from a vending machine soda, glanced back at the explosion. She frowned slightly. "Huh," she murmured. "Guess I really light up a room." Somewhere far away, fate banged its cosmic head against a wall. The sun rose over the campgrounds with an eerie calm, the kind that usually came right before bad things happened. Birds chirped, mist hung low, and the students were trying to pretend they hadn't nearly plummeted off a cliff the night before. Vanessa, however, was having the time of her life. She was sitting on a folding chair, sipping cocoa, scrolling through pictures of the accident scene she'd captioned, "Survivor Vibes Black Hard Hot Beverage." Around her, the others moved nervously. They whispered that maybe Vanessa's vision wasn't a coincidence. Maybe she was cursed. Or maybe she was the reason for their near death. Vanessa didn't notice, or didn't care. She just hummed cheerfully and admired the mountains. "It's so peaceful here," she said. Almost like nature's apologizing. Then fate began its next move. Someone shouted near the cooking station. "Hey, who left soap by the water bucket?" Before anyone could answer, a classmate slipped, his foot shot out, sending a metal pot flying. The pot crashed into a table, which tipped over a kettle of boiling water. Screams. Chaos. Everyone dove for cover. The pot bounced into the air, hitting a rack of utensils. A knife spun out like a gleaming silver boomerang, slicing through the air straight toward Vanessa's neck. Vanessa blinked. Huh. Then she sneezed. A single, delicate, perfectly timed sneeze. She bent forward at the exact second the knife whizzed past, missing her by inches and embedding itself deep into one of the bus tires with a violent pop. Air hissed out. Everyone froze. "Bless you," a trembling voice whispered. "Thanks," Vanessa said, rubbing her nose. "Allergies. Trees hate me, I swear." Behind her, smoke began to curl from the spilled kettle, right beside the open gas stove. But before it could ignite, rain suddenly started to pour, drenching everything. Vanessa looked up. "Wow. Perfect timing," she said, smiling. "Mother Nature's got my back." The others stared at her in silent horror, drenched and shaking. One muttered, She's not human." Vanessa just grinned, completely missing the tremor that ran through the trees. Somewhere in the distance, thunder rumbled, deep, angry, personal. By now, death was tired. For millennia, it had done its job efficiently, one little accident here, one stray spark there. Simple. Predictable. But Vanessa was a walking loophole. Death hovered above her campsite, invisible, skeletal fingers twitching in irritation. It had claimed presidents, warriors, saints, but this girl with a lip gloss and seasonal allergies. Unkillable. Fine, Death thought. Let's try something classic. That night, as Vanessa walked through the forest collecting firewood, the wind whispered around her, low, cold, malicious. Somewhere, a tree creaked ominously, roots shifting in the damp soil. Vanessa paused, holding her phone up. Signal. No. Ugh. The tree snapped. The massive trunk split with a thunderous crack, collapsing toward her. Birds scattered. Leaves flew. Vanessa blinked up at it, frozen for half a second. And then lightning struck. The bolt hit the falling tree midair, exploding it into burning splinters. When the light faded, all that remained was half the trunk, shaped like a crude chair, still smoking faintly. Vanessa stared. Then, slowly, she sat on it. Finally, she sighed. Nature provides. Death let out a sound somewhere between a scream and a groan, echoing through the night sky like thunder. Vanessa, thinking it was just the storm, pulled out her snack. Okay, chill, weather, she muttered through a mouthful of granola. You're being dramatic. Later, back at camp, the others sat huddled by the fire, whispering again. Did you see that? That tree exploded. She didn't even flinch. I think Death's afraid of her. Vanessa popped another marshmallow into the flames. Afraid, she laughed. Nah. I'm just lucky. A spark flew from the fire, landing on her sleeve. The others gasped. But the spark fizzled out, leaving not a scorch mark, just a faint shimmer, like glitter. Vanessa looked at it and smiled. Huh, she said softly. Sparkly. Far away, in the dark space between worlds, Death was pacing. Lightning flashed. A grim voice hissed through the storm. She cannot keep dodging me. But deep in the forest, Vanessa sneezed again. And the wind changed direction. Years passed. The story of Vanessa the survivor became legend, half miracle, half curse. Every news outlet had run her story at least once. The girl who escaped fate, lucky or doomed, the immortal teen who won't die. Vanessa didn't see the fuss. She just liked that people finally spelled her name right. On this particular afternoon, she stood downtown, mid-interview with a local TV crew. Sirens wailed somewhere behind them, again, but Vanessa beamed under the camera lights like nothing was wrong. I don't know why bad things keep happening around me, she said cheerfully, brushing ash off her shoulder from the small explosion across the street. But I just try to stay positive. A reporter, sweating under his mic, forced a smile. Positive. Right. And how do you stay so calm when, disasters tend to follow you? Oh, mindset is everything, she chirped. Bad luck is just misunderstood good luck that takes the scenic route. As she said that, there was a groaning creak above them. A construction crane 2 blocks away buckled, cables snapping like whip cracks. Workers screamed. A billboard, a massive metal sheet advertising sunscreen, tore loose, slicing through the air straight toward them. The cameraman dropped his equipment and dove for cover. Vanessa blinked, taking a sip of her iced coffee. Weird sound, she murmured. Then the wind shifted. A sudden gust hit her cup, knocking it from her hand. She gasped, reaching for it, and slipped on the puddle of spilled coffee just as the billboard slammed down exactly where she'd been standing a heartbeat earlier. A deafening crash. Dust. Screams. When it cleared, Vanessa was sitting on the pavement, legs crossed, hair still perfect. The billboard had missed her by inches. She looked around, blinking. Wow, she said, standing up and brushing off dirt. See. Accidents build character. The reporter fainted face first into the dust. Paramedics rushed in, dragging the unconscious man away. Vanessa, unbothered, turned to the camera. Can we redo that take? I think the lighting was better before the debris. Behind her, a passing car exploded in a spectacular fireball for no discernible reason. Vanessa glanced back and sighed. Ugh. Mondays. Later that night. Vanessa sat in her apartment, scrolling through social media posts about herself. Memes, conspiracy theories, fan edits. Some said she was cursed. Others said she was blessed. One post simply read, Vanessa versus death, 99-0. Thunder rattled her window. She looked up, frowning. Okay, universe, can you chill? I'm trying to watch cat videos. Lightning flashed, striking the power line outside. The cable snapped, sparks raining toward her window. She got up to close the curtains, tripped on a rug, and fell behind the couch. The cable crashed through the glass, hitting the exact spot she'd been standing. The lights flickered out. Vanessa groaned from the floor. Seriously, the electricity bill better not go up for this. The storm raged on, but Vanessa calmly pulled a blanket over herself and fell asleep to the sound of destruction outside. Somewhere between the cracks of reality, deep in the cold machinery of fate, Death sat slumped over a desk, surrounded by crumpled papers and broken scythes. On the wall hung a list of souls, each neatly crossed out. Except one. Vanessa, still alive. Death rubbed its skull with skeletal fingers. I've thrown cliffs. Fire. Explosions. What's next? Falling satellites. A shadowy intern peeked in nervously. Sir, the system's starting to lag again. Her file keeps, resetting itself. Death slammed a fist on the table. She's breaking the rules. The intern winced. Technically, sir, she's not dying. Silence. Death's hollow eyes flickered with exhaustion. Forget it, it muttered finally, grabbing a quill and crossing her name off with a sharp stroke. She's not on my list anymore. The intern blinked. You're just letting her live. Death sighed. I'm taking a vacation. Meanwhile, on Earth. Vanessa lounged on a tropical beach, sunglasses on, smoothie in hand. The sea glittered under the sun. She hummed happily, completely unaware that every person who sat near her had somehow tripped, burned, or gotten stung by jellyfish. She leaned back, content. Then she sneezed. Out in the water, a shark fin cut the waves, moving straight toward her. She blinked. Huh. That's new. Before it could reach her, a jet ski appeared out of nowhere, crashing into the shark with cinematic precision. The crowd cheered. Vanessa clapped politely. I must have a guardian angel, she said sweetly, sipping her smoothie. Above her, 10 glowing, exhausted angels hovered in the clouds, frazzled hair, trembling halos, all sipping celestial coffee. One muttered, Guardian. More like full-time crisis management. Another groaned, she sneezed again, didn't she? The leader took a deep breath. Next sneeze, we take shifts. They all nodded solemnly. Below them, Vanessa stretched, smiling at the sunset. Life's short, she said dreamily, unless you're me. Somewhere far away, Death sat on a beach chair of its own, drink in hand, watching the horizon. Never again, it whispered.